Hi, everyone. So I want to talk today about something that might not sound exciting at first, income and wealth data in American households, but I promise it will be a lot more interesting than it sounds, especially if you're into things like financial freedom, generational wealth, or just being able to not be financially trapped in outdated relationship models. But before I get into the numbers, I want to say something about the comment section in my last video. There were some abusive comments, things like comments like dumb or stupid or that's just BS or the sarcastic sure. The thing is, when somebody throws out comments that are clearly meant to harm or dismiss, it's not just rude, it's abusive. And that kind of behavior is exactly why I advocate for female led relationships, because in a lot of cases, men genuinely don't even realize when they're being verbally or emotionally abusive. So I want to be clear about something. I have enormous respect for people who can disagree intelligently and respectfully. We don't need to agree, but we do need to stay kind. That's the kind of dialogue that helps people grow. And when somebody leaves a comment, I ask myself, is it kind, neutral, or intended to hurt? If it's the latter, it just gets deleted. No drama, no debate. If you want your voice to be heard in this space, bring some insight, or even mutual respect to the conversation. Because I'm not saying you need to believe in female led relationships or even agree with my perspective, just contribute something intelligent, right? Because maybe you've seen a totally different household structure that worked well, or maybe you disagree with how financial planning should be shared, or maybe you do agree and you've seen how this has worked. Just cool. Just tell me your perspective and why you think it worked. Don't be a jerk about it. Do you have stats? Experiences, observations from your own life? Those are the kinds of things that make this a real conversation. So if you're sitting there thinking, "Wait, I've got something to say," great. Jump in, enlighten me, enlighten someone else. So let's raise the bar together. So now to dig into the data, and yes, I'll drop the sources in the description so that anyone who wants to double check me can go into full spreadsheet mode. It's the best information that I could find comparing single earner households with a stay-at-home mom to the dual income households. It's the best way to find, at least quantitative data. So the idea here is to explore which structure actually produces more financial wealth. Because when people say FLRs are untraditional, what I see in the numbers is that they're economically smart. So here's what the income data shows. A traditional single earner household with a stay-at-home mom brings in a median annual income of around $80,000 from the Census Bureau via Rocket Mortgage. So compare that to dual income households with kids, the number jumps to about 129,000. Without kids, it's 138. There's a 60% difference in income just from having two earners. But it would be much larger with a totally female-led relationship, because females in FLRs tend to earn significantly more than their counterparts of more traditional thought process. So now let's move past income and look at wealth. The Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances show that single earner households have a median wealth of about 167,000. So that's the wealth, like the accumulated stuff that you could save and set aside. Middle income dual earners is 204,000. So upper income dual earners, their median net worth lands about 803,000. So what does that tell us? The households aren't just making more, they're managing it better. And when women lead in financial planning and emotional discipline, relationships tend to do better. There's less debt, there's more emergency savings, there's smarter long-term planning. And now let's let this play out how this would work over time, right? So imagine a single earner household saving 10% of their income. That's about $8,000 per year, earning a modest 6% return. In 10 years, that grows to 109,000. In 20 years, it's 273,000. In 50 years, it's just under 1.5 million. Now, these numbers I got from the sources, so they could be wrong, but it should be pretty close. Compare that to a dual income household saving 20%. So it's about 25,800 annually. So why 20%? Because dual income households generally have more discretionary income. Also, keep in mind that stay-at-home moms often want larger families, which means fewer resources for longer term savings. So that's a 20% savings rate. You're going to look at 352,000 in 10 years or 4.9 million in 50. So let's go even higher. Dual income earners putting away 32,000, that would grow to about $6.1 million over 50 years. So yeah, that's a gap of $4.6 million. Not just because the people in those households are smarter, it's the structure is smarter. So female-led relationships often foster clear communication, stronger emotional boundaries, and shared financial accountability. And no surprise, the data backs that up. When women have more authority in the partnerships, they're not just helping the household run, they're leading the household to thrive. So let's say somebody calls it untraditional, not traditional. I call it financially evolved. Okay, so we upgrade everything else in our lives, our phones, our cars, and our tech, but when it comes to relationship, we're still clutching the emotional equivalent of dial-up internet. So over 50 years, that right structure doesn't just simplify your life, it multiplies your wealth. It's not a theory, it's arithmetic, it's legacy building math, and it's the kind of legacy that women aren't just participating in, we are leading. So I hope this is helpful, and I hope you have a great day.